Welcome to another episode of ArmTalk. I'm your host, Jody Williams, and today I'm got a guest, super good friend of mine. He's been on the show before, so I thought, hey, there's something big brewing. Let's bring him back on again. Mr. Bryan Koerner, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing great. How about you, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good, but you know what? A little birdie told me that you're a very, very busy man, and it's all going to come to a T this weekend. You might want to tell everybody what's going on. What you got going this weekend?
We got the NatFit Midwest Open 3. Last year was huge. This year is probably not going to be quite as big, so we got the Arnolds going at the same time. But still should be a ton of talent. Got a lot of great people going to be there. And a couple things I'm super excited about is between me and Ryan Johnston, we've got 20 new arm wrestlers that have never been to an event before. So this gets to be their inaugural or their first event. And I'm real excited about that we're getting to bring a lot of new people on board and show them what arm wrestling is about, the camaraderie. And obviously Tim Commons and I are going to be the head refs, and we're going to be paying extra close attention to make sure everybody stays safe. And just real excited about all the new people.
Yeah. And as a guy who refs a lot of events myself, it's a good thing and a bad thing, because the good thing is that, hey, we got more new people, but now you really, really got to hone in and make sure, because some of those guys, they might see it on TV, but to actually be involved in an actual sanctioned arm wrestling match could be terrifying, because they might not know what they're doing. So you really got to have some trustworthy referees out there, as yourself, as Tim Thomas. I think there's some other guys too that'll be helping out, but
Right.
You really want to make sure that their first experience is a nice one, and it can't get any bigger than the NatFit. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Looking forward to it. We also scaled back the super matches. If you remember last year, that card I had last year was just ridiculous. We had 17 super matches.
Yes.
And it was led by Ron against Jordan, which was just incredible. Cody Merritt was there. So this year we kind of eased up. I was initially going to have as the main event Cody Merritt versus, against SB, because that's a match we've all been wanting to see. Last two world champs, left-handed.
Mm-hmm.
Cody's never beaten Ryan, so Ryan's in Cody's head. And obviously Cody's been on a crazy win streak, so Ryan's like, okay, now I got to see if we're still on the same page, or can I beat him now, or what's up with that? But unfortunately, Cody, his left wing's still clipped.
Yeah.
And he didn't feel like he'd be able to perform at 100%. And he told me he'd still come and pull, but I didn't want him to take the chance of potentially getting further injured. I'm like, you want to be healthy, you want to be 100%, because you don't want any regrets. You don't want to have any excuses. And Ryan, being the class act that he is, Ryan made it very clear. He's like, I only want Cody in if he's 100%, because I want the best against the best. And I thought that was really classy on both their parts.
And that's what people need to understand. I mean, the one thing you don't want to have to do is when you have two badass guys and one doesn't show up because they're not 100%. It kind of takes some of the luster out, So
Sure.
We got guys in the chat. We got Phil Woody from the UK in the chat. We got Russ Schrader. We got Preacher Arm Wrestling. Make sure you guys hit the like button. Now, here's the thing. The first time I ever, went to the Midwest in the Plains area, I went to Kansas City. And, I'm telling you right now, when I went there, aside from the barbecue they got, and yes, I didn't go to your barbecue, so I'm still kind of going, okay, because I don't think I would have made weight had I went to your place for a barbecue. But, I have to admit, for guys that hasn't been down there, there is so much talent in that one area that it's ridiculous, and Rush Trader's in the chat. He knows well. We go there. It was the NatFit event, which, one of these days I'm going to have to go to, but it was a Fallen Heroes event. And we went there, and you got, it was a who's who. You got Bo Olsen. You got Don Underwood. Rush Shredder came to defend his belt. Cody Merritt came. It was so many people. And I'm like going, you know what? The Midwest has a lot of talent right there. And I think that needs to actually be recognized by a lot of people. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, I 100% agree. I've had the luxury of being able to travel over the last 5.5 years to a lot of different states and pull in with a lot of different groups of people at events. And I still say, and this isn't bantering anyone else, because there's great pullers all over the country, all over the world. I mean, hell, let's call it the way it is.
Yeah.
But pound for pound, there just seems to be so much talent and knowledge and power in the Kansas City area. I mean, like you mentioned, you got Nick Zenna, you got Stephen Green, you got Ryan Clark, Pitbull. Ryan Johnson's been pulling 15 years. Cody Vanderwood's a freaking tactician. I do okay every now and then. Bo Olson, Don Underwood, Don Fritchie. I mean, the list goes on. And Robert Lopez, there's another crazy guy out there. And, there's just a lot of talent all around, and we keep building the teams.
Yes.
We keep getting newer people. And thank God to Devin's app that we've been able to reach out and find more new people. And thank God to the internet, just some Googling, I bet I've had in the last year and a half, I bet I've had 10 people that found me from a tournament I ran for WAL 3 years ago that was just Googling arm wrestling in Kansas City, and my name popped up, or I never would have met these people.
Right.
And it's just really cool that, it really feels like we're starting to build and get some real good hype around it. And running awesome events is so key to that. Because it's one thing to, have a few beers when you're pulling and stuff at someone's garage. When you actually get out to an event, it's exciting, it's fun. It really sets the hook in.
Yeah.
It gets the people loving it.
Because when I was there, it was last fall, Fallen Heroes. Again, Ryan Johnson did an absolute tremendous job at that event. And I'm at the venue, and I'm sitting up there like, oh, okay, it's the day of the venue. And I'm at the table, I'm sitting up there with Roger Learn and his wife, Cody Merritt and his wife. We're just hanging out, just chit-chatting. And then a funny story, in walks Don Fritchie. I'm thinking, oh, okay. When you get somebody like Don Fritchie in there, there's going to be a story. You just want to just grab a beer, sit down. Hey, Don Fritchie, tell us a story and talk, because that guy has so much knowledge that it's really one of those situations. It's a learning moment. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
It's a learning moment.
What's great too is not far from us, within 3 to 4 hours, you got Jim Coyle and his entire clan. Jim's like 128 years old, I think.
Yeah.
And been pulling since Jesus was in diapers. And you've got Russ Schrader 3 hours away. You've got Cole Holliday and the Springfield guys, Chase Stratton, that's 2.5 hours away. You got Kevin Harris and Roger Nowitzki 2.5 hours away up north in Nebraska. You got Cliff Hall, who's been pulling forever. That's 3 hours away. So, just right in this area, we've got so much talent. It's insane.
Now, I will say this. There are certain areas where let me start by saying this. There's certain situations where you want to go, man, I want to challenge myself. I want to go out of my backyard or out of my region, per se, and challenge myself and just say, hey, I want to know where I stack up against this group of people. Well, I'll bring up just some your region, right? The Missouri, Nebraska, just that whole Oklahoma, that whole area right there. There's so much talent you really don't have to travel for. You go to you can stay in the state of Texas, and you get all the arm wrestling you ever asked for. Then you can go a little east, you get Arkansas, Louisiana. There's certain regions where it's kind of going, once you get there, you don't have to do a whole lot of traveling, because there's a lot of talent right there. We up in the Northwest are starting to get to that point. You got Oregon, they're hungry. You got a team up in Washington with Jacob Abb and his crew. They're vicious. Idaho's starting to come up now, because now Robbie Topi has moved over there and he got his team ready. So it's starting to get to a point where there's certain sections of the country that go, oh, I want to see, what's that about? And for example, hey, Russ Schrader, I know you're in the chat, but I'm going to use Russ as an example. So here's Russ Schrader. Him and his wife, Whitney, are going to come to my tournament on June 11th, right? So he's coming all the way from Arkansas. He's coming over here. So now, all the guys, when I told those guys, hey, Russ is coming from Arkansas. He's going to pull my teammate Ryan Lance. And the array of like, oh, man, Russ is coming. He's from Arkansas. Just to know that somebody from a different area of the country is coming to your event, it sparks everybody in the local area. Do you think that's the same way with you guys?
Oh, 100%. 100%. As I was saying before, we basically kind of got 3-4 teams-ish, if you want to call it that. We're all part of Kansas City Arm Wrestling. So you got Psycho Arm Sports, which is about 30 minutes west of me. I have practices sometimes at my house. I did before, recent events, and with COVID and stuff. And you've got guys up north with Russ Battagler, and he's got a group of guys up there. And then you've got Ryan Johnston out east of me, about 30 minutes or so. And so you got technically 4 teams-ish. But if we get someone from out of town coming in, like Logan Duckworth came in, I don't know, it's been, probably 4 or 5 months ago. But anytime we have someone coming into Kansas City, they'll reach out to one of us, and then we'll just schedule a practice together and try and have a nice big practice where we get, a good chunk of the KC crew that just goes out and beats up on whoever's coming in town, and they all love it because they're getting to pull so many different arms. It's not like they're just coming to pull, me or Ryan or Bo. They get to pull teams. They get to pull a lot of people, and they just get such excellent experience. Then we also get that experience too, because everybody pulls different. It seems like every region has a different way and niche of pulling, and it's great because, like I said, we get people coming in town, and we just get a big collaborative practice together. Bo's fantastic about it. I mean, hell, he's got 30-some-odd guys out there on his team now. It's crazy.
That's why they're called Psycho Arm.
That's right. They just keep expanding, and they're doing a hell of a job out there. I mean, they really are. And every practice, you got people that focus on different things.
Mm-hmm.
Bo does a lot of strength and conditioning and working through troubled areas. Then you get like maybe the Springfield guys that are just working on, one specific move per practice. And like me, I don't hit per se in practice, but you've got to be able to be ready,
right,
for a tournament. So you've got to have those times where you work on just a hit. And each team seems to practice a little bit different things. So when you go out and travel to another place, you get to learn something new, and it just builds up, your toolbox.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up. We, here up in Central Oregon, what we try to do, all right, y'all, what y'all want to work on, is we'll get a couple guys. We'll have like 2 or 3 tables. One table, they're focusing on, hey, pitting power. Cool, no big deal. Another table might be working on, hey, man, let's get some strap work in, because you got to focus on all aspects, because sooner or later you're going to be in those positions. Okay, how about we do some hook stuff? I'm going to hook you, you top roll me, and we go at it for about, 10 rounds, and then you flip-flop, Then all of a sudden, hey, man, how about we work on holding power, okay? A guy drives into me. I got to hold him just at the pin pad, and I'm trying to hold that for 20 seconds. And then we flip it around, then I'm going, and he's trying to hold me at the pin pad for about 20 seconds. So those kind of things I picked up over the years, and it's worked for us, So, yeah, when you do go to get to a different team and you go to a different region, you kind of go, oh, man, I want to see what that guy's hand feels like. You see it on video is one thing. When you see it in person, it's a whole different level.
Absolutely. When you get that, like perfect example, when I got to pull Corey Miller 2 years ago.
Yeah.
There's a reason why he's called the Flash.
Yes.
And you kind of anticipate just how fast it is because you can see it on camera, but you don't actually really understand it until he comes up there, gives you no load, and within a 1/10 of a second, he slams your hand and he's back to the starting position. You're just like, wow, that's beyond incredulous. It's like, did this really just happen? And you actually get to feel that versus just watch it on TV.
Yeah. And, honestly, if you look at the way Corey pulls, those are the kind of talent guys that when you go to WAF Worlds, those are the kind of stuff you got to deal with. Those guys do not load at all. It's just, I'm going to grip you, but I'm not trying to squeeze your eyes out. I'm just going to grip you, because then when that go comes, they're taking off. And it's like, there is something to be said about, fast pull, because you'll have one group, oh, those guys, they like to, they like to time everything off the hit. Or, hey, these guys, they like to grab low and control the wrist. Or these guys over here, they're all about the strap. So it's always cool to sit there and experience things like that,
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I remember when I first gripped Corey, him and Isaac Luna both, because it was at the Brazilian Cup.
Yeah.
And both of them looked at me, and Corey, he goes, what the hell are you doing? Because I was trying to get some more bite and clamp down on his hand a little bit. And he literally said, what the hell are you doing?
Right.
And kind of laughed and then smoked me. And I'm like, okay, I get it now. And I got to work with him at Bob Brown's afterwards because, after the Brazilian Cup, Bob always has everybody over to have a big after pull. And really got a lot of good lessons from him. It was really pretty neat.
Yeah, and like I said, and there's speaking of Bob Brown, the Brazilian Cup, everybody out there are a lot of events for me anyway that are basket events. And what I mean by that, I gotta get to there. The Nat Fit, one of these years I'm gonna get there. Brazilian Cup, all that kind of stuff. I gotta get there. Those are bucket list tournaments where you gotta get there. Michigan State, another bucket list tournament I'd love to go to one day. Tell everybody out there, and I forgot if I asked you this question the last time you were on the show, but give me a list of some of your bucket list of tournaments that you would love to go to.
Well, I want to get to. I went to Michigan State. I did that last year, and I did it one other time, and got my gorilla last year, which was awesome. I want to hit up Keystone State. So James Reed and Paul Lynn up there, I definitely want to hit. I want to hit New England with Josh Grant. I've heard that's an amazing event. I've been to one Bill Collins event, but I'd like to hit like King of California. I want to hit King of Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Louisiana State, Alabama State, and then Kenny Bostic. Cody and you both told me that that's a must-do.
When you go there, and I'm telling you right now, when you think Hawthorne, Nevada, and if you haven't been there, it's like, where's Hawthorne? It's in the middle of nowhere. Like, seriously, it's in the middle of nowhere. It's a military town, but to sit there, and I've been there on a couple occasions already. I'm going back this year. When you go to that event, right, and it's like, man, all the talent that comes in this small town. And I'm telling you right now, the small town, the revenue kicks up that weekend because you got everybody coming in because they got the military parade, all that kind of stuff. So that in itself is awesome. Then you put, the arm wrestling event there. There are times where you may not be able to get a hotel. Like my wife and I, we kind of like was late to the party as far as getting a hotel. So we have to, stay in Fallon, which is about an hour and a half, 2 hours away from Hawthorne because it was sold out, But the talent that comes there, like, every year when you get Cody Merritt, Ron Bath, all the Derek Smith, the one I went to last year, Derek Smith, Mega Mike, all the Utah guys were there. Jordan Seal, Bob Brown, Justin Green, Craig Toulier, Jamie Shelton was there one year. So I'm telling you, the array of talent that comes there is just phenomenal, right? Alex Topro was there, So yes, I would say one of these years, Bryan, you're going to need to go there too.
Yeah, it sounds like I definitely need to get there. Just if nothing else, to experience the environment. I might crap the bed and go 0-2, but oh well. Just to get to hang out with everyone and do some after pulling and just experience that environment, especially with it being a fundraiser. That just seems super exciting.
Yeah, fundraisers. I'm at a point where this is year number 12 for me in arm wrestling, and along with the bucket list tournaments, those fundraising tournaments where they go to a good cause, those are starting to be more important to me. Obviously for obvious reasons, but even before my event, I go to an event every year in Oregon, Myrtle Creek, and it's held every year last Saturday in July. The Joe Woody Invitational, and what that is that all proceeds go to the suicide prevention program because the guy that puts it on, he was a military guy. His dad actually committed suicide, and so in honor of him, every year they have this big festival. They got a carnival for the kids. They got a softball tournament, arm wrestling tournament, live music. They got all kind of stuff. And they happen every year. And once again, it's held into a small town where it's packed. Like, oh, where do you find parking at? They have to shut some of the streets down because of the parade, but also because it's just too crowded, But those are the kind of events I like to be a part of because then it's like, you're doing it for a good cause and there's some good goddamn arm wrestling there,
Yeah, it's like with Ryan Johnson's tournament, the Fallen Heroes every year. It's for the SAFE organization, which is Surviving Spouse Endowment Fund. Mm-hmm. So any first responder that would go down in the line of duty, within 24 hours, the SAFE organization provides a $25,000 check to the surviving spouse, which, $25,000 doesn't, never could bring back anybody, but it just eases the burden for unexpected tragedies like that, for funeral expenses and everything else. It's a great organization, especially since we can support first responders that put themselves on the line for us for scraps, basically.
Right. And here's something weird. I don't know, and this may sound weird to people. I don't know, but for example, Fallen Heroes, right? Hey,
Right.
guys, buy a T-shirt. It's $20. I think it was 20, 25 bucks or whatever. You buy a T-shirt, it goes to the foundation. Cool. I actually bought a T-shirt, but I left it there. I gave it to somebody else because I knew that, okay, the money was going to was more important. Okay. Now, last year, Joe Woody Invitational, right? Yeah, I mean, there's cash prizes. Not a whole. It's not a real big, like $500 for first place, but there's some cash for top three. You know, I won one of my classes, took second in the other, and I gave the money back. It's like, hey,
awesome.
put this toward for next year, or whatever, that kind of deal. Because for me, I know what the situation is. I know that's more important. So it's like, yeah, I mean, when I first went to that tournament, it's like, oh, cool, 250 bucks, cool. But now it's like, you know what? I had a good time just being here with everybody. Here, man. I gave the envelope back and said, hey, just put this toward next year's, a tournament and stuff like that. And like I said, that may sound weird, but I'm at a point now where it's like, that's what I'll do,
But I do that every year at Fallen Heroes. Like I had ref every year for Ryan. Don't charge him a penny. When I pull, I pay the entry fees, even though I know he'd let me pull for free because of reffing and helping, organize stuff with them.
Right.
But I buy T-shirts every year. I don't charge him anything for, standing up there for 6 hours, which reffing is, is still a hot topic. Reffing sucks. It's tough. It's hard work. And it's the most thankless job in arm wrestling. But
and he's doing the brackets too. So he was doing the brackets also.
Yep. Money is all fine and dandy, but being able to give back to the community some, hey, it's worth it.
Yeah. And, every year, I mean, like I said, it's getting to a point where like some of these tournaments, when you got somebody coming from out of town, the excitement builds up. You know what I mean? And that's what we need. And here we are in that fit number 3, and anybody who I think was Brad Cook, the one that filmed last year?
Yes, he did.
Okay, so if you want to having a taste about what was that about, then go, to Brad Cook, 217, look him up on YouTube because that event was just awesome. Wasn't I thought Travis Beige was like the MC of that event.
Yep. Travis was MC, and he'll be MCing this weekend as well.
There you go.
Yeah, Travis, I mean, I'm sorry, he's the man when it comes to MCing. I mean, there's a lot of great guys that do some good MCing, but Travis is just on another level. I mean, you've been to tournaments with Travis MCing, and he keeps everybody engaged.
Here's the thing.
It makes it fun.
Like you said, refereeing is a thankless job. I think the MC is just as important because you got to remember, I've been to an event where Travis was the MC. He brings more, he makes it exciting for not just the opponents, but the crowd. I've been to a tournament where Don Underwood was the MC. I've been to a couple of them actually, where Don Underwood was the MC. Those kind of guys, when they bring that character out, and they bring that enthusiasm, and it makes the tournament that much better, in my opinion.
For sure. And they have so much charisma, and they also, they're sitting right next to they're sitting at the scorer's table. So if there's a glitch with a bracket or something, that's when they jump in and take the crowd over and use some subterfuge to make them, to focus on something else instead of, hey, we're having a glitch in the bracket. So, they read the crowd, and, that's just a natural gift that they have.
Yeah, I love that. They can redirect the situation. Hey, you guys focus on the computer-generated brackets. I'm going to go ahead and direct. Hey, don't forget, you got your raffle tickets. Or, hey, don't forget this tournament coming up, and who do you have favorite, that kind of stuff. And, and those guys can do that just like that, to where it's like, oh, you would never know that there might have been a glitch in a bracket or something went wrong. You would never know it because they, as good as they are, don't allow the crowd to understand that, because that's when people start to panic,
Yes, me included. Last year, man, in that fit too, you would not have known, thank God, for Travis and Cody. So I've got 2 world champions at the scorer's table. My wife, this was during the super matches.
Right.
My wife's laptop crashed, like straight up crashed.
Ooh.
So brackets are gone. I'm, of course, shitting a pink Twinkie on stage going, oh, my God, what the hell? This is the biggest crowd we've had here in a long time. All these national world champs here. I'm going to look like a total dumbass. Wife comes up, grabs me, and she's like, we're screwed. And Travis called me over to the table, and Travis was like, I got this. We'll get it fine. Had my wife handwrite every person's name and weight class down.
Right.
Travis and Cody paper bracketed that sucker at the last minute.
Right.
They were just awesome.
Oh, and hey, let me ask you a question.
Yes.
TAL number 2 in Idaho. You were there, right?
Yes, sir. I was riffing.
Now, tell everybody out there, there's a few people in the chat that was actually there. Now, I'm telling you right now, because of the atmosphere, and when I say this, you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about. The super match between Cody Merritt and Robbie Topi, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that thing was so electric with the crowd, the way Travis was emceeing, that sometimes you kind of forget that Cody won 3-0.
Right.
And you would think that it went down to the, it was the best of 5. And you would think that all of a sudden, hey, this is it. This is match 5, winner take all. But it wasn't like that. But because Travis got the crowd into it, it was in Idaho. So, Topi had the whole, hometown crowd and everybody. And then, there were some Cody Merritt supporters. And, just as well as I do, being there in that environment, once again, another example how an MC can turn a tournament up decimals just like that. It was, man, you had to be there in person to understand what was going on.
Yeah, it was so loud that even as loud as Travis's mouth is with a microphone, I'm standing 5 feet away from him. And it was tough for me to hear Travis commentating and just giving Cody shit left and right that I could barely hear him because the crowd was so loud. Like it was like a WL event on ESPN, the finals. It got that loud. It was crazy. And we're in this cruddy biker bar, because we had to change venues literally within 24 hours.
Right.
And God, it was crazy loud. I mean, it was exciting. I mean, it was really exciting to be part of that.
Yeah, that super match kind of dwarfed everything as far as excitement. Then, of course, you had the tournament. Then, it was like, oh, okay, here we go. We got Jacob Abbott and Todd Hutchins going toe-to-toe. Once again, that crowd, it was almost like you had a hot knife through butter, because one half of the bar was rooting for Todd Hutchins. The other half of the bar was rooting for Jacob Abbott. And it was the whole place was dark except for the actual, place where they had the tables.
Yeah.
But it was just like so super loud, and the enthusiasm. And like I said, you could have plugged in Travis. He would have did an awesome job. Don would have did the same thing. But it was just like, that's the kind of stuff I think we are missing in tournaments. Now, I know that, there's certain people that got that gift that can actually carry a tournament on the MC. Not a lot of people could do that. I know, before when I first got into it was Mac Taylor. He was the guy that did that stuff, hyped everybody up. Travis can do it. Don can do it. And like I said, there's certain people that can kind of get away with that. But I think sometimes we're kind of missing that in tournaments. Do you think that's a thing or what?
Absolutely. There's, without question, there's some key ingredients that really make an awesome event.
Mm-hmm.
You got to have a great spokesman, so a great MC. You've got to have good bracket systems.
Yeah.
No matter what you use, whether you use, Corey Miller's, whether you use Challenge or James Reed has his own brackets. I know a lot of other people do too. And I'm very fortunate because Drew Bishop out of Southern Missouri, he actually built an app for arm wrestling, and it's for brackets, and it's really state of the art what he's doing with it. And Saturday is going to be the beta test on it. We're actually running live to where anybody can just log into the app and see what percentage of each damn it, can't even think of a stupid word. Each division, each weight class, you can see what percentage is completed. You can see the lineup. So let's say we got the live stream going, which Robert Lopez is going to do a live stream for us. So let's say amateur class is up and you want to wait until you see the 65 open class. You can actually sit there and monitor that on your phone, so you know when to actually go to the live stream so you can start watching.
Oh, okay.
Because if you don't want to watch, maybe you don't want to watch supers, maybe you don't want to watch middleweights, you want to watch just the lightweights. It shows you on that app, so it's really pretty unique, and I'm excited about it. I know Tim Talmadge has an app in progress as well, and hopefully everybody can not necessarily have a universal setup, but to where everything's more consistent across the board.
Mm-hmm.
But I am excited to see what his is doing. So brackets the second thing. Third is reffing. You've got to have good refs. I mean, we've seen tons and tons of posts about how one ref can screw this up, this, that, and the other, missed calls. As a ref myself, I mean, no one's infallible. No one is perfect. Leonard's not perfect. Bill Collins isn't perfect, even though they're the two most seasoned ones we have.
Yep.
But everybody's going to make mistakes every now and then. It's a matter of, as long as things go consistently, no one should expect perfection. And if they do, sorry, we're not Jesus. That's just not going to happen.
No, you're absolutely right. And like I said, go ahead.
No, I was just saying you got to have, your great refs. So MC, brackets, refs, and then a fun venue, a good, exciting venue. And all these things cost money. And I realize that, but I don't know if the promoters are just money hungry. I don't know that myself. I bet out of the 8 tournaments I ran, putting in the hours that I put in to set up an event, I'd be lucky if I've broken even across the board on all these.
Right.
Just because of the amount of time I put in, all the late night phone calls, messages back and forth. My wife thinks I'm weird because I spend a lot of time, networking with people to try and get people in for the event. And so maybe, if you charge $25 per arm, bump it up to maybe $27.50. Just a couple extra bucks per entry can pay to make sure that you've got people in those key positions that are very functional and that are going to make your event run smoother.
It is, because I think, like you said earlier about thankless jobs, and without a referee, you ain't having no tournament. Without a bracketeer, you ain't having no tournament. Everyone focuses on the big players in the game, and I understand that. Trust me, I do. But some of the more important ones, you got to give them, the respect they deserve. You got to give them the opportunity because it's a thankless job. Hell, Washington State, 281 entries or something crazy like that. Tim Thomas put together. Well, guess what? There was only one main person doing the brackets that entire night, and that was his wife, Kayla. Cody Merritt jumped in and helped out when they had a snafu, and what Cody did, because we were having 3 tables when the amateur class was done, okay, and we had 2 tables. When the open class came on, okay, now it was like speed dating. It was kind of chaos, but it was speed dating. We had 3 different tables, and it was boom, 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 boom. You had Leonard reffing. I was reffing. Matt Craig was reffing. I mean, Scott Wynn was reffing. So we had all kind of people reffing. Then, it was like, hey, Kayla, I'm on table 2, so-and-so won. And she's like, okay. But then you had also people time and time again, boom, hey, this person won. Cody's like, let me know who won. I will tell Kayla she can get it going. Now, with all that information she's trying to take in, she also has to say, hey, I need Bryan Koerner and Corey Miller on deck on table 1. I need Jody Williams, Tim Thomas on table 3. She has to do that also. And once again, when you have somebody who can do that, you got to really thank them. So everybody out there, make sure you thank the refs. Make sure you thank the bracketeers, because that is a job that not just anybody can do, especially under pressure.
100% agree, sir.
100%
agree.
Because I'm telling you right now. But hey, what matches before we go? We haven't talked about what matches you got at the Nat Fit. What do we got?
I've only got 4 super matches. Like I said, we scaled it down quite a bit, and we had a couple of fallouts. Like Jim Bertelli, also called Jimmy Pipes. He was going to be pulling Ronell Duncan out of Chicago, but Ronell had something come up at the beginning of the week and wasn't going to be able to make it. Initially, I was going to pull Adam Wilmot. That was one that I would love to pull because Adam and I are friends, and just to see where it goes. I mean, more than likely he'd whip my ass, but still like the opportunity to pull him. And he called me 2 weeks ago, and some things came up to where it didn't make sense for him to make the trip. So, long and short, and I think he had a little bit of a clipped wing. as well. So that didn't happen. We got Mike Creason, who's a local guy. Mike's been pulling a long time, but doesn't travel anywhere but Kansas City because he's got a very large family, a lot of kids and wife, and it's just difficult to leave town when you've got that much going on. He's going to be pulling Jeff Blair out of Arkansas, and Jeff Blair's has been on a tear the last year and a half. He is a beast at 54, 65, 76, and he's quite the package. So that's going to be a really good match between the two of them. We were also going to have Cole Holliday pull Jeff Frank, but with all the COVID restrictions, Jeff couldn't plan it with any guarantee that he'd be able to get back into the country in a reasonable amount of time, and just feared that. So that one didn't end up happening. We've got Robert Lopez, who, if anybody has not watched him pull in a super match, the dude is full of piss and vinegar. He is exciting to watch. Robert is very fun to watch and very strong inside and outside puller. Excuse me. He's pulling James Johnson out of Arkansas.
Nice.
It should be a real good match. I think it should end up in the strap every match.
Nice.
Like, I would be shocked if it didn't. We got Travis Duncan out of Arkansas, who's Jeff Blair's best friend. Real strong lefty. And then we got a guy named Oren Rohr out of Springfield. He trains with Cole Holliday and Chase Stratton, those guys down there.
Nice.
Oren, it's crazy. He's only been pulling maybe 18 months. And for a while there, he was right-hand dominant. And then literally one day he woke up and his left just went nuts.
Wow.
Like, his left is so crazy. So that'll be a really good match between those guys as well. And then our premier match is we got Joe Fox all the way from Canada is going to be pulling Adam Orensky. So, and you saw Adam pull at Ryan's tournament.
Man, I'm telling you,
clean the clock. I mean, Adam just walked through everyone.
Adam is one of those guys where, because he's not a real vocal guy. He's not, hey, I'm all over social media. He's not one of those guys. But I'm going to tell you something. Anybody watching the chat, anybody watching out there, Adam is nobody to mess with. That guy is so talented and so strong in any area that you're like, wow, who is this guy? Where'd he come from? And I'm telling you right now, I think he has a match coming up at Tim's tournament in Arizona State in April. So I think he's on the marquee there.
Rockers.
Yeah. So that itself is going to be like, wow, I'm glad I get to, go there in person and watch it with my own eyes, because that's going to be, a knockdown, drag out fight. But yeah, Adam is no one to sleep on. So, and neither is Joe Fox. I just saw him in person up in December at Washington State. So that's going to be a hell of a match. It's almost like, okay, Jody, who do you think is going to win? Dude, I have no idea. That's how I feel about a match like that.
Yeah, all four of these matches, I'm flipping a coin. I literally am flipping a coin. I do not have one strong emotion or the other. I really don't have a clue who's going to win. I mean, you got just on the main match between Adam and Joe. Joe hasn't lost in like 2 years. Adam, I've never seen Adam lose.
Right.
I've watched a fair amount of his matches, and I'm sure he's got some losses here and there, but I sure haven't seen it.
Right.
And yeah, that's going to be a grinder. And they're both so stoked. Like, I've talked to each of them in the past 2 weeks on the phone and via messages probably at least 8 times. And they are both so just amped. Like, they're probably not sleeping right now. They're both just stoked to get after it. I mean, Joe texted me this morning. He's like, man, I just landed in Atlanta. I'm shaking. I'm ready. And so, yeah, it's going to be good. I'm real excited about it.
Now, tell everybody this year, because it's a different venue, correct?
Yeah. So I got basically kicked in the junk a week ago today. I called the owner of the prior venue in the evening. I said, hey, man, I'm going to have my cousins coming in town this weekend. I just want to kind of show around KC a little bit, and I want to come down and do a walkthrough in the venue to make sure, plumbing's good, electrical's good, kind of do a sound check with everything and make sure that the tables, I kind of have a good setup in my mind as far as where I want the table set up. So I got some VIP tables.
Right.
That people purchase, they want to sit right up front. And then he tells me he's having an issue with the health department. And I'm like, Jesus, what are you talking about? You can't just throw this curveball at me 8 days in advance.
Right.
And he's like, I'm not sure how it's going to pan out. I'm like, so long and short, I need to find another venue. He's like, I'm not sure, but it wouldn't be a bad idea to have a contingency. So I basically just hung the phone up and hit the panic button, called Underwood, and Ryan Johnson, and I was like, hey guys, I need a venue. We need to get on something ASAP. And it was so awesome that the way they network and as good of friends as they are, that I had 10 phone calls inside of 12 hours. And I had venues lined up, and it just so happened that Woodchucks, which is one of those axe throwing places, it is a perfect square. So it's a great venue for arm wrestling and fair amount of seating. It's spaced out real well, but there's also a big open section, which you can probably see from the pictures that Robert Lopez posted.
Yeah.
I rented 8-foot tables and got 50 more chairs. So we should have ample seating. And what's great too is a lot of times, I mean, I'm sure you've been there with this, where you're at a tournament, you bring the whole family with you, the kids are bored or the wife's bored, but they get bored. That ain't going to happen here. I mean, you got throwing Chinese stars, knives, axes, tridents. They've got some video games like, the machine where you punch to see how hard you can punch. It's got one of those hammer stomping ones. He's got 1 or 2 sets of cornhole. So there's going to be stuff for people to do.
That's good.
Yeah, so I really feel good that this is going to be a great partnership, as long as we can, get the arm wrestlers to support the venue and, drink their beer.
Right.
At the end of the day, drink their beer, drink their water. I've also got catered in barbecue from a buddy of mine that owns Pitt's Barbecue, and he's going to have his big smoker and tent right outside the front door. So, and it's going to be available at 9 a.m. on Saturday. Because how many times do you go in to weigh in and you're ready to eat the ass in out of a dead rhino, but there ain't no food around?
Oh yeah.
The kitchens aren't open yet.
Oh, I know that all too well.
Yeah, we all know that, and it sucks because then you got to go. Okay, well, I'm going to go find an IHOP or some Denny's or someplace to go get some grub. We're going to have the food ready for you at 9 a.m.
Yeah.
So you can just walk out, grab some water there, walk right out and grab some food, and there's no reason to leave and lose your parking spot or lose your table because we got it all right there for you.
Because we all know if we leave to go get some meat and come back, your spot is not there anymore.
Oh, hell yeah. That happens all the time.
Right.
Heck, half the time you go to take a leak and your seat's gone.
Yeah. It happens. Somebody then took your chair. It's like, what the fuck, So you got to start leaving. You got to bring like a jacket and a sweatshirt because you got to put, hey, I got to put my hoodie here and a jacket there just to know that, okay, this chair is taken. Because we've been there before. So,
yeah.
All right.
Turns going to the bathroom between you and the wife, like, hey, you hold the table, I go take a leak, and I'll hold it when you go, that sort of thing.
Yeah. So you're watching her purse while she goes to the bathroom. Meanwhile, you got a kick-ass match going on. You can't see. So it's like, what the fuck,
Yep,
so
I go up to the stage with a purse on, yeah.
Before we get off, tell everybody who's actually going live with this event.
Robert Lopez just got the brand new iPhone, and they actually shoot movies off these damn things. So he should be doing Facebook Live on Saturday. So Robert Lopez. We've also Aussie Arm Wrestler. Robert's planning on sharing his live feed with Aussie Arm Wrestler because he wants to commentate.
Ooh, nice.
And same with Bill Schumer out of St. Louis. He HD Bill Doe or whatever his handle is on Facebook. It stands for Bill, and then High Dollar Entertainment is his company name. Bill's also wanting to do that as well because he does the Arm Fighter. A lot of the St. Louis ones he does color commentating on as well. So we should have some other people commentating on the live feed as well. So that way for people that don't know who some of these pullers are because they haven't gone out and got exposed, it's going to be nice having someone that's actually commentating on the live feed as well as getting to hear Travis MC.
That might be the next thing, Brian, where the next big thing, we're going to have commentators who break everything down. You got your play-by-play, your color, commentators. So I think that might be the next thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Ryan Johnson and I got to do it with BR Live when WAL was doing their local events.
Oh, yeah.
Ryan and I got to commentate 3 or 4 different ones, and it was really fun just up there getting to talk. Hell, down in Tulsa while Ryan was pulling, I pulled Jeff Hale, and me and the Hellraiser were just chatting away. And then when it was my turn to pull, my wife and Jeff Hale were just bullshitting on there. It was awesome because not only do you get to know the people that are commentating because you're going to get to learn about them, and see what unique individuals they are, but they're also going to know the talent there, and they can help anticipate what's happening. It's kind of like Tony Romo. Romo's my favorite NFL commentator because he tells you what's going to happen beforehand. Like, he knows, because he was such a skilled athlete.
Yeah.
He'll tell you, hey, this is the play I would go. Or, if I'm on there, I'd be like, hey, yeah, Ryan Johnson's going to go in for an inside press so he can avoid getting his hand taken away from Bill Logston, who's trying to top roll it. That sort of thing. It's kind of fun having that. And then if you don't like it, hit mute. You can still watch it.
But that's the thing, though. Like you said, there's nothing better than having somebody who knows what they're talking about. Because then, let's just say somebody, like you said, you got a bunch of new pullers. Let's just say someone stumbled in on you guys' event and they want to know more what's going on. Then you have that person sit there and break everything down. Okay, watch out, because Don has that quick hit. He's been known for that. But can he get it if his elbow is at this rate or his elbow inside his body? Can he maintain? I mean, that kind of stuff. When people break it down like that, it makes a lot of difference. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So, yes, exciting. What time does the event start?
We're going to start the kids 11. Super matches start at noon. Tournament follows. So I would imagine the tournament will probably start at 12:30, 12:45. Tim Talmadge and I are going to be reffing all the super matches. So Tim and I are pretty efficient working as a team.
Yeah.
And the other people that we got reffing as well are going to be awesome. Cody Vanderwoord, he's such a top level.
Yes,
Robert
he is.
Lopez is awesome. I'm sure I'll have Stephen Logston there to help out as well. Cliff Hall. So we've got a good core of people, and I can't thank God enough for all the people that are willing to help on the events. I mean, it's just, we really just have an awesome crew.
Nice. Well, I'll tell you what, my friend, I'm looking forward to it. I think I might have it live on, in my garage when I have practice and stuff, so we'll probably do a little bit of that kind of stuff and see what's going on. But hey, my friend, I want to thank you for joining me on the show again, because I really want to chit chat is how to get my work schedule and my sleep schedule kind of lined out so you and I can sit there and talk about this event.
Yep, I'm sitting in a customer's driveway right now getting ready to go and do some work. So I was like, this is perfect. So it worked out great.
All right, brother. Well, I'm gonna let you go ahead and get back to work, but I'll be looking forward to watching that on Saturday. And my friend, good luck with everything, and I will talk to you down the road.
All right, I appreciate you, Jody, and thanks for having me on. And stay blessed, and we'll talk soon.
Yes, sir, man. Take care. We'll talk to you soon.
You too, brother.
Take care. Bye. So that was Bryan Koerner, right? NatFit number 3. Okay, this coming Saturday. Also, we got the Arnold this coming Saturday. And I believe it's the first one since the pandemic hit. So I was at the 2019 version, and I had 27 guys in my class, and that was a barn burner. Took 9th, but I had 20. And how often does someone brag about who they lost to, right? So picture this: 27. You have to understand that the weight class was at that point was 199 and over. Okay, for me, that was a weight class: 54, 76, 98, 99 and over. Okay, so 27 guys in my class. Okay, I took 9th. Not too bad, right? I always talk about who I lost to, and that's, for some reason, that's weird. But it's like I lost to Robbie Burnett and I lost to Derek Smith. Now, not a lot of people brag about who they lose to, but I lost to those guys, and you learn something from that, right? So, but what makes this one special is because this is the version where they took that 199 and over class and they split that in 2. So now you have a 242 class and a 243 and over class. So I'm thinking, okay, and I really want to go there, but I got all this other stuff I got going on, so I wasn't able to make it. So, but that's also happening this weekend. So you guys check that out. Somebody will be going live. I'm sure they are. So thank you, Phil Willie, for joining me. Rush Raider, everybody, Preacher Arm Wrestling, Paul Stevens, Troy Brown, Fox 8 Ball, everybody. Thank y'all for taking a little bit of time out of your day to join me on the show. But guess what? I'm not done yet, because later on, 4 o'clock Pacific Coast time, 6 p.m. Central, I got Robert Fowler. Yes, a Texan. He's coming on there, and we're going to sit there and talk turkey, because he has a good, important super match coming up. So I'll be back later on today. So until then, you guys take care. And as always, I see you when I see you. But I'm going to see you guys later on today. Take care.